Hey, it's May 27th, 2024. This is Neil, and here's a quick video on handling the OR parameter in static assets when we want to redirect to Google Cloud Storage only if that static asset exists. So a little bit of a complicated scenario, and we had filed a bug on this because if you set redirect equals manual, then it always goes to Google Cloud Storage whether or not the asset exists. And I decided that that behavior is appropriate because we want to shovel all the functionality off to Google Cloud Storage in that case. What you would want to do instead, let's say I want to get a URL for this asset that works whether or not I'm logged in. And the reason you would need to do this is sometimes with controls, say an image control or something like that. If you don't have cookies, you can't specify an authorization header. We talked about this in a previous video. And so now what you can do is you can pass a token into that endpoint, and that allows it to work whether or not you're logged in. And so we can see that work here. So that gets me the thumb. What we want to do though is, and you'll notice this redirected to storage in that case. What we want to do is handle it if it doesn't exist. What you'll find with the redirect option, if you set redirect as manual, then it will still give you a storage URL, but if you go to that URL, you get a 404, and it gives you this funky XML response. And the idea is you still want to use the OR parameter, but you want to use redirect as manual. Well, you can't. If you want to redirect to the asset or redirect to a static asset rather than the user's asset, then you need to use redirect auto, and that's the default. So we don't need to put that in here. But what I've added is a threshold at 0. And threshold, you can now override the size of the asset to determine whether or not it redirects to Google Cloud Storage. So by saying threshold equals 0, we're always going to go to Google Cloud Storage, and we don't need this. Really, the key thing here is we're going to redirect. We're going to check whether or not we're logged in. The Surfey token will allow us to be logged in and then see if the asset exists. And then if it does and it's too big, it'll redirect. Otherwise, it'll just serve it up. And then this allows us to also add the OR parameter. So if it doesn't exist, we'll go to assets.play.png on the same server, right? So that's how it works. And then if it does exist, it will just serve it up. And notice I didn't put a threshold parameter in here, so it stayed at the current server because it decided, oh, the asset's small enough, we can just serve it up directly from here. But if the asset's too large, and there's some that are large because we're dealing with videos, you can it'll send you over to the Google Cloud Storage URL. And if you want to see that happen all the time, you can say threshold equals 0, and that will pass you off. So just to recap here, if you say redirect is manual, then whether or not the asset exists, you are going to get a URL to Google Cloud Storage. It won't check. So this will give you a URL regardless, and then from that point on, you can cache this because this will last some amount of time. You'll find that this will tell you if that asset does exist. Google Cloud Storage handles the asset existence detection and all that. If you want to do it automatically, the key here is you have to pass in a Surfey token so that the web request has the authentication built in to the URL, kind of like a signed URL, rather than having to pass an authorization header. So that's that. Hopefully this helps you out, Barto.